So good day everyone. Today we will be discussing about African literature on keeping a secret. So first we have the study guides. First we identify the main conflict of the story. Next is discuss the love and appreciation for culture and tradition. And lastly, analyze the social issues presented in the story. I have here a saying, there is no secret that can be forever kept. So what does it mean? This means that eyes to see and ears to hear may convince him or herself that no mortal can keep a secret. So, if his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips and betrayal oozes out at every pore. So, I have here a story on keeping a secret. Once upon a time, there lived a rich chief who had many wives, all of whom had sons and daughters with the exception of one by the name Hawa. Hawa was very unhappy, for in those days, when the wealth of a man consists in the number of children he had, it was no little thing for a woman to be childless. Therefore, the more children a woman had for her husband, the more were her chances of being dearly loved. One day, while Hawa was going for Wolver, she started to crying, saying, "Oh, if only I had a child, how happy I would in this world." A voice said, "If only you women nowadays did not talk too much, I would change myself into a beautiful girl for you." The woman was so astonished that she could not believe her ears. Looking around for a long time and seeing no human being, she decided to go on. For surely it was one of her neighbors who had decided to increase her sorrow by this trick. But again, the voice said, "I wanted to be your child, but I'm afraid you will talk about it." Observing, however, that the voice came from the direction of a tall and stately palm tree, the woman with tears in her eyes begged to be helped, promising faithfully to keep whatever secret was entrusted to her for as long as she lived. I Immediately the palm tree was changed into a beautiful girl. The woman named her Hawa after herself. How happy she was when she realized that at last her neighbors would no longer taunt her and her husband could now love her. Had she not brought into the world a beautiful daughter for him, a daughter who would someday be married to a rich neighboring chief, and so increase and riches of her father. Oh, how proud she would not now be and how much confidence she would now have in the future. Thus she thought as she went homeward.
So, for the continuation of the story, on nearing the town, the girl said to her mother, "The day you reveal my secret to anybody, remember I shall be turned back into a palm tree. But as long as you keep the secret, I shall remain to you a dutiful daughter and enrich your life, bringing you much wealth and popularity." Hawa promised her daughter faithfully that she would do all she wanted. So, the only wish of the palm tree that Hawa will not tell anybody so that he will remain a dutiful daughter for her. Then Hawa promised her daughter that she will not tell anybody about it. So when they arrived in the town, she brought the girl to her husband, telling him that this was their daughter, that she had been kept all these years in secret, for she wanted to surprise him and those who thought that she was childless. Because the chief loved Hawa dearly, he did not question the truth of her statement, but accepted the child into the royal home and made a great feast in her honor. Thus, they lived very happily, all went for a long time. So after that, Hawa brings home her daughter and said to her husband that this was their daughter, that um, she hid the daughter for years, for she wanted to surprise her husband. But one of the wives, who was jealous and did not quite believe the story of Hawa, set a watch for those two and tried in all manner of ways to get information about Hawa's child. Finally, one night, while Hawa and her husband were talking in their room, the jealous wife came in unseen and hid herself under the bed. So, the one wives of the chief was not believed the statement of Hawa that this was their daughter. So, the jealous wife made a way to know and to get the information about the daughters or the daughter of Hawa. So the chief asked Hawa to tell him the real truth about their daughter for being warned by the jealous woman to be careful of these two. He was anxious to know how Hawa really came into possession of the child whom she had hidden for these long years. Hawa confessed everything to the chief, who promised that he would always love her all the more for her good fortune and promised to keep the secret. But the jealous woman had heard all. So since the chief was warned by the jealous woman that to be careful of these two, which means Hawa and the daughter, so he asked Hawa to tell him the real truth about their daughter. So since Hawa really loved the chief, so he confessed everything to him and asked that the chief will never tell anyone about it. But the jealous woman had heard it all the confession of Hawa, the jealous woman, heard it all. So the next day, the mother was surely troubled all day because of a very bad dream. She left that misfortune would befall her that day. A few hours after that, the jealous woman came to her and asked Hawa and her daughter accompany her to the farm. Hawa was good-natured. Then too, since this jealous woman was the head wife, it was a duty which she owed to the shift, her husband, to do what she asked. So the jealous woman came and asked Hawa and her daughter to accompany her to the farm. Since this jealous woman was the head wife of the chief, so it is the duty of Hawa to obey what she asked and what the jealous woman wanted.
When they arrived at the farm, the jealous woman began to address the girl as a palm tree, saying, "Go and bring me some wood while I wait here for you." The girl turned and looked at her for a long time. Again, the woman called, "Palm tree, go and do what I say. Don't you hear me, you disobedient girl?" This time, the girl asked, "Why do you call me palm tree?" The woman answered, "Because you are not a human being. You are a palm tree, and your mother has lied to the chief." Then that girl knew that she had been betrayed, and the secret was known. The end had come. Going back to the town, she started to sing, "My mother has been betrayed me. I am going to live as a palm tree. Take these things from me. I shall live without them, as I have done in the past. Oh, mother, dear, you promised that you would never tell my secret to anyone, and now I must go. Goodbye, mother, goodbye." This, she ran down the road with her mother running after her, crying frantically. Turning around, she said to her, "Did I not tell you that the day you would betray me, I would again become a palm tree?" The mother pleaded, but all in vain. Her daughter became a palm tree once more. The mother fell down at its foot and died of a broken heart. So after reading the presentation, we are now moving to the plot of the story. Let us first discuss the climax. So the climax rest of the story is that the jealous wife was not convinced by the story of Hawa, so she made her wait to get any information about Hawa's child. Then one night, the chief told Hawa to tell the truth about their daughter, and she confessed everything, not knowing that the jealous woman heard it all. And for the rising action, while Hawa was crying, she heard a voice talking to her. When she looked around, there was no one with her. The voice came from a palm tree and promised to Hawa not to tell the secret in exchange for she will be her daughter. Now let us move on to the following action. For the following action, the next day the jealous wife addressed to the child that she was a palm tree, that she was not a human being, and her mother lied to the chief. The girl had been betrayed and the secret was revealed. For the exposition, the story happened at time somewhere in Africa where there lived a rich chief who had children except for Hawa. His wife Hawa was the childless. For the resolution, the end had come. Upon knowing the secret, the child became a palm tree once more, and the mother fell down at its foot and died of a broken heart. So, what is the moral lesson of the story? The moral lesson of the story is, if we made a promise for the sake of our happiness, we should keep it. Revealing those secrets may harm you and the people around you. Second lesson, be contented on what you have. Be happy. You are not born to impress them. Just live according to the plan of our Creator. Third, give importance or value to the trust that other people give.